Hey guys, I'm Alfa, and if you don't know me, I am building the world's craziest wide-body bagged Giulietta. And today, I'm going to answer all of your questions about this build. Over the past 2 weeks or so, I've been asking questions like this over on the Instagram, asking, what do you want to know about the car? What do you want to know about plans, what stuff I've done, how I'm doing stuff? And you guys came through and asked us a fair load of questions. So we're going to answer all of them in today's video. If you don't follow the Instagram, same as the TikTok, same as the YouTube, Aaron's Alpha for it all. Keep updated with the build. And on Instagram, I even run a broadcast channel where I do stuff like this more often, and I get your guys' inputs on not only this build, but the 159 daily that we're building. You even voted on the colour of it. But the first question we've got for this car is, when can I drive it? You can't. This thing has way too much money, time, effort, heart, soul, blood, sweat, tears poured into it for me to honestly ever let anyone drive it. There might be the odd person, if you remember Theo from the wide body Porsche Cayman video, he might get to drive it if he lets me send the Porsche a little bit. But yeah, there's so much time and effort that goes into a proper build like this. You know, it's not just a case of, well, it's definitely not taking it to a garage and having them change the wheels, but it's not even just a case of, you know, spending a couple hours on a weekend fitting a Maxton splitter or something. It's at the point now where it's custom wiring, all custom body panels, custom vents, custom everything, and it takes so damn long. And if something was to go wrong, especially with someone else driving it, they cause a bit of damage or they don't know how to drive it properly, because it's not an easy car to drive anymore. I can't just go out and buy the part and fix it. It's a case of I've then got to spend hours on hours on hours, on days, on weeks, working to fix whatever they've broke. So realistically, nobody's probably ever going to drive this car but me. And the next question ties quite well into that. We've been asked, do I have a budget, or do I just save up each time I want a new upgrade? Now, I did have a budget. I did want to try and keep this build cheap. Because I'm doing the custom wide body, I'm doing all the labour myself, I thought maybe it won't be that expensive. Boy, was I wrong. Obviously the wheels, the main star of the show, I kind of tried to validate that by saying, you know, you can't have a wide body without wide wheels, and that I knew I had to spend quite a bit on them. Obviously they're custom one-offs, we've already done plenty of talking about them, we don't need to go into them more. But no, even the wheels, it was a case of, I think I messaged the guy around like August when I saw them on Marketplace first. Spoke to him a little bit saying, oh yeah, they look sick, this and that. And then got to like September and I was like, I noticed he dropped the price a bit. So I started talking to him a bit more, asking about how the process of having them custom made and all sorts of stuff like that. And again, he dropped the price again in November. And at that point I was like, you know what, I'm going to buy them. And I'd been saving up that time knowing I kind of wanted to buy them if they were still there. We agreed on a price, and it wasn't until December 28th, I think, when I actually went and got them. Bit of a Christmas present to myself. But yeah, that's mainly what I do, is if I see something I want, I save for it. Otherwise, all the money gets spent on this thing anyway, so it doesn't make too much difference whether I save or have a budget. But I am surprised with the price of things. The newest thing I'm working on at the minute is this bumper extension to bring it down to the bottom. And literally just to get the plastic to do all that goes along the front was shy of 150 quid. 150 quid for 2 meters of plastic. It's ridiculous. So I'm spending a lot more than I thought I'd spend on this build, but I'm just going to keep at it. It's at that point now, so much money's poured into it. Go big or go home. This is a question I like a lot. How wide will it be? Now, obviously it is quite hard to measure this on my own. I am going to give it a go for you guys. I know roughly whereabouts the number is, but it's wide, let me tell you that. So I'm going to grab a tape measure and a brick. Let's try and measure it. I'm going to pop this down with a brick on top of it at roughly where I think is level with the wheels. And I'm going to pull her along, and I'm coming out here to about 204 centimetres, so we're looking at around 2.04, 2.05 metres wide, which considering this car comes at about 1.8, it's not a small wide body, put it that way. And we're following that up with another really good question. When do I aim to have it officially on the road? Now, this is a really tough one. I actually had a show booked like on October 7th. This video is probably coming out late October. The show was like early October, and this was supposed to be going and getting revealed there. Obviously it didn't happen. Bit off a bit more than I can chew, I will admit, but I'm hoping to have the front end close to being finished around Christmas, if I can. Now, I don't live where the garage is that I work on this car. It takes me 2 hours to travel each way on the weekends to come and work on the car, so I can't work on it as much as I'd like to. Full completion, I mean, I'd absolutely love to do the Europe shows next year, and obviously Sonax sponsor a show called the Offset Show, which would be incredible to reveal it at, because if you don't know, I'm a member of Team Sonax. Sonax is all the stuff that's going to keep this car nice and protected once it's painted, nice and clean. So I'd love to reveal it at that show. However, I can't put a set date on a car like this. Things go wrong sometimes, there's bits to repair, and honestly, being a build like this, it's never completely finished. Obviously in the future I plan to V6 swap it, put a Busso engine in, you know, there's endless possibilities of stuff that I want to do, but the wide body I'd like finished by the Offset Show, which is April next year. Is that going to happen? I don't know. I really don't know. The next question, or questions I should say, are about the engine. Now, one person's asked, is it the 1.4 multi-air? It is. It's running more than stock power, obviously. We dynoed it at 203 brake horsepower, October 2023. That was running on low boost, 16, 17 PSI. Similar to what it ran stock, if not slightly less. There's a plethora of mods added onto it, which is the next question, which was asked today actually, which is any engine upgrades in the future or a change of colour, blah blah blah. We're going to leave the colour one because I'm going to save that for the end of the video. That's been asked quite a lot. It's probably the most asked question. But in terms of engine upgrades, if anything, I'm going to do an engine downgrade. You know, I could slap a big turbo on this. I could even put the 1750 TBI engine in, but I don't want to. I'm not after building big power. Maybe pull a bit more in the future, but for now, we're being different, we're being creative, we're being cool. I want to drop a V6 Busso in this car. I've got the Busso. I'm planning on not really doing anything to it, maybe a bit of a refresh. Do all the custom work, engine mounts, wiring harnesses, exhaust, all that piping and all that good stuff. Gonna run it at the stock Busso's power, which mine's a 2.5, which is about 180 brake. And then in the future, we might build a 3 litre or a 3.2 Busso, aim for 300 brake, supercharged, God knows what. You know, you never know how crazy this build can go. But as for plans on this engine is dying, if I'm honest with you. It's running to its end. So no more upgrades on this engine, save my money, possibly a V6 Busso in the future. Another two similar ones here. We've got replace steering wheel to a Giulietta, and what are your plans for the interior? I would like to do something with the wheel, definitely. It's a common swap for these to put an Abarth wheel on, like a Abarth 595C or whatever, because they're 330mm in diameter, which is about here. Significantly smaller, and they're a bit thicker as well, which is what you want from a sporty wheel. The Alfa's wheels are all gigantic. Even if I probably won't swap to a Giulietta wheel purely because it's still 370, 380mm. Massive. Might swap to an Abarth wheel, might end up with, you know, just a classic race wheel. I don't know yet. I'd quite like to keep the Alfa. I'd like to keep this wheel, or maybe a Giulietta, but maybe do something crazy with it, you know. Cut off the top section, have an open top steering wheel, custom mould a flat bottom. I don't know yet. my plans for the interior have generally been very limited. While there is stuff I'd love to do to this interior, like retrimming doors, dashboards, all that stuff, get a load more carbon fibre in here, I'm holding off because, realistically, when I do the V6 swap, there's no guarantee any of this interior stuff will work or will stay the same. So I'm avoiding that in case of it not working. There's no point in me working on the interior now to then have to rip it out and redo it. I'm going to leave the interior until the V6 swap is done. Again, we're loving the double questions at the minute. We've got two, again, similar. How will you pass MOT? And how does insurance work with the car with custom modifications like this and the wheels and all sorts of stuff like that? Honestly, I don't know. I've not planned that far ahead. I don't intend to plan that far ahead. That is a hurdle for later Aaron to figure out. MOT-wise, obviously certain bits won't be staying. You know, the bonnet exit's not staying, that was just for a laugh. I might have to do something about certain sharp edges, because I know that's an issue with MOT. If you don't know what MOT is, if you're from a different country, it's like yearly safety inspection, basically. It's not necessarily, like you can pass an MOT with illegal stuff on your car, which is questionable. So there's two separate. Insurance, again, insurance won't cover some things, but you can still pass an MOT with them. Funky stuff. Insurance-wise, it's definitely going to be specialist. Like I said before about letting someone else drive it, if something was to get damaged on this and I have to make an insurance claim, you know, it's not a case of, like, how do you value a part that doesn't exist? The custom wide-body wings, what value could you put on them? You could say, okay, a wing's 100 quid, the arches were 100 quid, the plastic and fiberglass and carbon, you could say maybe it adds up to 400 quid. But the insurance company could pay me out 400 quid and I can't go and buy another wing and fit it. I've got to spend weeks and weeks and weeks making it. If you include labour costs, you know, the car would be multi-millions by the time it's finished. So it's going to have to be some sort of, you know, custom specialist car modification insurance company. And what I'm going to try and work out for if I do have to make a claim, I don't know. I just pray that I never do. That's the main thing. I've also been asked, what's the hardest feature to perfect so far? And honestly, I would say I've not perfected any features so far, so I can't really say. The thing I'm not happy with so far the most is the arches. I will come out and out myself here. I was rushing, I was still daily driving this Giulietta at the point, so I test fitted one arch and got reasonably good fitment on that side, which is the passenger over there. On this one, I didn't test fit it, I just measured off the other arch and put it on, and they're not exactly the same, they're not identical, they never will be. The issue here is I can fit my fingers between the arch and the wheel. If I was to go around to that side, I can, you know, you can barely fit a fingernail on this side, whereas that side you can fit your whole fingers. Not great, not ideal. You also might be able to see from that camera angle, while this side says like smooth of sorts, says in line, over here for some reason it actually kicks out halfway through. It's just to do with when I was fitting the arches, obviously you can sort of stretch them and mould them with them being ABS plastic, and it put quite a bit of tension on the arch, and then when I made the relief cut for the bumper so you could still take the bumper off, that then released the pressure. You had one arch that was sitting there and then the other was sitting there far behind it and backwards. So I'm currently working on fiberglassing over the arch completely where I'd made that cut. I made some temporary brackets, you might have seen it in a video or two ago, where we pulled the arches back out and filled it all in so that it's now actually smooth and staying in the correct position. But I do still have this challenge to deal with where the arch kicks out. Not too sure how I'm going to address it yet, if I'm completely honest. I'm sort of waiting until I make that relief cut again, then I can take the bumper off and then maybe put a bit of a V slit into the arch and bend it straight. Don't know yet. The next question is, what's being carbon skinned and is the rest staying red? Now I've chucked the bonnet back on because that's one thing that's getting carbon skinned. If you don't know, I do all my own carbon skinning. As with everything else on this build, we do everything ourselves here. Now, I'm planning to do the entire front end. The wings, the bonnet, the bumper, the chassis mounted splitter, which hasn't been made yet. There'll be other bits carbon too, like I'm sure I'll put some side skirt extensions on, that'll be carbon. At the back, the diffuser will be carbon, the wing will be carbon. There's going to be plenty bits. Well, how much of it's going to stay carbon, I don't know. When it comes to the painting phase, there is chance that along the front, you know, I'll do all that carbon, then maybe I won't like it. I don't know. It's something that's kind of hard to envision. But if that is the case, all it means is I can paint match over the carbon and leave certain bits exposed, like say the vents on the bonnet, which I think looks really, really cool and really clean. It's a very sort of baller thing to do. You know, you've got your exposed carbon, you could be sitting there flexing it, but you paint match it anyway just to properly be on the vibe. So everything at the front's definitely going carbon. Might get painted over, I don't know. But certain bits like the accent, like the diffuser, the wing, the side skirts, the splitter, they will 100% be staying carbon. Definitely, without a doubt. And as for the question of am I keeping it red, you're going to have to wait till the end of the video to find out. This is quite a good one. Why no YouTube series? There is a YouTube series. It's here. And I've had another one asking if I have a YouTube channel. Yes, you're here. Welcome. Maybe I don't promote it enough. Maybe I need to get on that and promote it a bit more on Instagram. But we document everything on this series, mostly. Certain bits I'll miss out that aren't entertaining for you guys. But anything that is worthwhile watching, it's all in a playlist that you can see on my channel. This next question is one I really like. What first made me love Alfas? Now, I don't really have a crazy story. I know a lot of people seem to have family who like their Alfas, because obviously the older Alfas are quite well regarded as good classics. But I don't have anything like that, if I'm completely honest. My dad drives a Ford Transit van, and my mum just has whatever car she feels like. But the thing that got me is I had a Polo 9N3 originally. Just a 1.2, and it blew up after a month of me owning it. So I was looking at getting a GTI version. Boy, am I glad I didn't. One day, because obviously I didn't have a car, I was getting lifts to and from work by my mum, God bless her, and one day on the way home, there's a car garage, sales garage near me, and she was just like, oh, should we go have a look in there? One Stop Car Shop it's called. And I went in, and I saw this, and I'd always liked them. There's actually a video, probably a solid year before I bought the Giulietta, where I saw one at college, and I was like, my next car's going to be a Giulietta. You know, I've seen some really nice Alfa Romeos, and it did end up happening. The thing that actually got me, like, completely, is when I sat in it, for the price. Weirdly, Alfa seem to get shit on for their interior, but for the price, you really cannot match their interior. So I don't know why people go around saying, okay, yeah, don't get me wrong, some bits are plasticky and whatnot. But when I sat in this and I thought, I can have this for the same money as a 2009 Polo with, you know, that barely had climate control. And I'm in here, dual climate control, touchscreen, comfy seats, nice Italian styling. I was all for it. The thing that really did the most for me, I'll zoom in so you guys can see. While it might be a bit dirty and a bit dusty, there's sort of like a wood grain effect fascia on the dashboard, and I just fell in love with it. I don't know why. The last one before I get onto the colour, what are you using to make the wide body kit? Are you not watching the YouTube? We are using a mixture of things. There will be the stuff I'm doing up front here. I can get away with doing a lot sort of a bit more of a cowboy kind of thing, because when I go and carbon skin it, that's going to add all the main masses of strength. Whereas when it comes to the rear, you know, where attaching the rear arch to the body, I'm not carbon skinning that obviously, so I might have to use fiberglass matting and resin for that. Whereas here on the front, I'm using the plastic ABS arches, universal eBay kit. We make it work. We've got some 10mm acrylic here as a nice strong base for the vents. The canards are 3mm or 2mm plastic, I think, so I could shape them. This new bumper extension at the bottom is 5mm, just using a lot of acrylic and ABS plastic and fiberglass filler, normal body filler, all that good stuff. The vents are metal. There's going to be a massive mix of stuff. I'm planning to do something with the wing mirrors soon. That's going to be different. That's going to be plastic welding, all sorts. Literally anything you can think of, we're probably using it, to be honest. So, I'll stop teasing you guys. The final big question: am I keeping it red? What am I doing with the colour? Am I painting it? Am I wrapping it? The honest answer is I don't know. However, I am happy to confirm it will be staying some form of red. The exact red it's going to be, I'm not sure. It's most likely going to get painted, because the thing with wrap, when you're doing bodywork and stuff like this, you're kind of going to mess stuff up if you wrap onto exposed primer or bare metal. It doesn't work as well. You kind of need that paint and lacquer for the wrap to stick to. So it's unlikely it's going to get wrapped. As I mentioned, the front end is going to be carbon, but the main body and shell of the car will be going red. It's likely to be a custom one, if I'm completely honest. Well, Alfa do some stunning red colours. Obviously we've got, I want to say this is like Alfa Murato or something beginning with an M for some reason. No, Rosso Murato or something. Then you've got the Rosso Alfa at the back for the shell of the car was. And obviously you've got the absolutely gorgeous Competizione red. They don't quite do it for me. For a build this extreme, while I like to keep the Alfa heritage in it, like the wheels, the window trims and whatnot, I think we've got to go custom for the colour. It's going to be heavy on flake, I'd imagine. It's going to be something that really catches your eye. Might look a bit tacky on a standard car. However, for a car like this, that's so extreme, built for shows, built for pictures and whatnot, and for looking at, I want to go pretty crazy with it. And I know I mentioned it before, guys, but once it is painted, it's going to be Sonax protecting everything, cleaning it. You must try some of the products. I've been using some of them recently after spending a day working with the master trainer in the UK, learning all sorts of stuff. And there's really nothing else I'd trust to protect the car like this. The way that they've tested everything is guaranteed safe for your car, if you follow the directions correctly, of course. But if I'm going for such an extreme paint job, I need it to be protected. And if you want to protect yours too, use code ALPHA15 on checkout. You'll get some amazing stuff for really cheap. And with that final question answered, let's have a edit of the car, shall we, while it's out. If you've enjoyed, make sure you subscribe. If you want to see the build continue, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like, comment, share it about. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.